Welcome to the latest episode of the Big West Conference's Small Talk Wednesday. I'm your host, Mike Villamore, and this week's guest, we've got a special one. New member, UC San Diego, first time in the Small Talk Wednesday episode. It's head women's volleyball coach, Ricci Luyties. Coach, I have to talk to you about your playing career. Obviously, you've been there for 10 years now in a coaching capacity, but you have a decorated playing career. You were a four-time All-American setter, a four-time national champion at UCLA. For Team USA, you won the gold medal in Seoul in 1988 with players such as Karch Karai and Steve Timmons. You've also had a successful career on the AVP Tour on the beach, playing with Karch Karai, winning some tournaments. How has all that experience helped you in terms of the coaching path that you've gone down?
Well, I think, you named a big reason or some big reasons why all that happened. And one of the biggest was probably Karch Karai and playing with him. So I think a lot of learning went into that and kind of translated into coaching. There were a lot of times when we'd sit down as teammates and as a group on some pretty high level teams and go over videos and do those kind of things that I think was really a learning process that, you can't equate anything to. So I think that really was the main reason that I enjoyed it so much, the game. And I think that helped kind of make the transition into coaching easy for me.
Well, I know that from my younger years watching the Olympics on TV, I can remember in 84 and 88 seeing those players like Karch Karai, and on the women's side, Flo Hyman and Debbie Green, the setter, and just remembering how beautiful the sport is, how athletic and talented that these players are. And so always been a favorite sport of mine to watch.
It's really you think about it's one of the only sports that is played at all three different levels, being up in the air. You have to jump high, you have to be quick on the ground, and you have to be able to dive and get on the ground. So, there's all the different aspects of volleyball. And I think the power and speed of it is really fun to watch when it's at a high level.
Now, I've seen some photos of you during your playing days. I've seen one in particular, which I believe was the medal stand when you and your teammates were receiving your gold medals in Seoul, Korea in 1988. And I have a photo from that particular event. I wanted to see if you could go through the different players that are in that photo for me.
Funny story about that. When they were calling out the names there, they actually, when they said, "We're giving me the medal," they said Bob Stavertlik, who's one of the other players on the team. And I was like, "No, I'm not taking the medal." Well, you're saying the wrong name. I say my name, please. I don't think they ever got it right, though.
I think that's everybody in there. So
I'm right next to Jeff Stork. Also, he coaches in the Big West also, as you know, I'm sure. And then I'm right next to him with my face covered by, that is Scott Fortune, who's covering me up right there.
Wow, that does take you down memory lane, does it not?
It really does. And, it's great seeing all those guys. And luckily, I still get to keep in touch with quite a few of them. But they're definitely having me see that and look at that. It's like, I need to reach out to a couple of them, talk to a couple more.
Someone mentioned during your playing career, at least around that time, that you bear a striking resemblance to the character Iceman in Top Gun, that your hairstyle at the time and just the look kind of gave off the impression that you were Iceman from Top Gun. Were you going for a certain look at that time?
You're talking about Val Kilmer?
I think so. That's what somebody said. And I saw some of the photos. I didn't see the same blonde, but maybe the hairstyle. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I haven't heard that, but it was funny because the hairstyle that quite a few of us had, and it started by Steve Timmons, who pulled out the flat top that back in 1988 was popular. And so I think like four of us on the team had the same haircut.
The reason I bring up Top Gun 2 is that, Top Gun 2 is currently being filmed, as I understand it. It's supposed to come out in the summer of 2021. And part of that film is being done in San Diego. I don't know if you were aware of that.
I've heard that, and I'm hoping that they try to do another beach volleyball scene because it was iconic scene of the guys playing in their jeans, all the short guys playing in their jeans in the hot sun. So hopefully they'll redo that and make it a little bit more realistic.
Any chance that you'll have a cameo appearance in that movie?
If they'd asked me, I'd be there in a second, but I doubt they want some older guy doing anything.
Speaking of movies, you actually have some experience on the silver screen. What's this about a movie credit to your name?
The movie was a volleyball movie called Side Out. It was back in 1991, I believe, is when they filmed it. And basically, it was, if you want me to tell you the story about it, it was an incredible experience because, first off, this was probably like the third or so volleyball movie made. And the first two were complete dogs. And like, so when it was coming out, we're going, okay, this is just another volleyball movie. It's, who knows what it's going to be like. So they asked us to be in it, and not everybody was all fired up on being in it. And so I ended up going down and getting this role of, just my part. It was me and Steve Timmons on the Olympic team. And so they said, yeah, come down to the set this morning. We're going to start shooting down at the beach, at Hermosa Beach. And so I was like, fine, great. Basically ended up being able to hang out, eat, go down, shoot a couple of scenes. The scenes that we shot were like very small parts. I mean, if you blink your eye, you're going to miss them in the movie. So it was like a quick little shoot. We ended up doing like 6 days of shooting down there. Got pretty good payback in that time, for it. And amazingly, some people have seen it. So it's treated me well. It's funny. My wife always laughs because I get a check every once in a while, a residual check.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you still get those?
I still get checks. Now I'm going to tell you, I've gotten a couple of checks. There were like 13 cents, 5 cents after they take everything. It was like started out at $1.50 and went down to 5 cents after.
You can't even buy a candy bar with that.
No.
Do your players know about your acting career and the fact that you appeared in a movie?
Yes and no. Like it usually gets out, at some time with some teams, or one of the players will Google something and find that is it. I know at one of my teams, they actually bought the video online somehow. So they watched it and made fun of me for a while. So it's something I don't really bring up, but it seems to get out.
You don't want them having any leverage on you, right?
Not at all. And every once in a while, somebody will come up to me and be like, hey, it was on at 2:00 in the morning. I happened to see the Side Out. Were you in that? I was like, yep.
Well, Coach, we really appreciate your time, spending some time with us on Small Talk Wednesday. Had a great time talking to you, and hope that we can see each other down the line in La Jolla for a match at some point.
Sounds good. Hope to see you there.
All right, that was part one of our interview with UC San Diego head coach Ricci Luyties. Please stay tuned for part two, as we will be playing a game, movie trivia style. Let's see what Coach's knowledge of 1980s flicks are all about.